Guess so. Yep, there we go. There was a screw. Take out the screw, obviously. Okay, got it, huh? Just then, the bookshelf slid sideways. Oh, a door. That's where it was. Seems so. There's a stopper on the back of the bookshelf, which comes off if you remove the screw, allowing it all to move. Really? Anyway, I'm glad we could find it. All thanks to that memo. Yeah. My father was leading us to the next room. I wondered what could be there. Mr. Irving touched the door nervously. The door opened with a deep sound, and we stepped into the next room. A bed. An exorcism bed. All right. Here we go. This is... It was an eerie sight. I found myself unable to move. For this is where Mr. Victor's exorcism was performed. For days on end at that. It seems I was right after all. I do believe the spiritual energy that lingers here is the same as that which I felt from the culprit's letter. Murmuring, she touched the bed that had been placed there. In other words, it belongs to Mr. Victor. Yes, or maybe it's the evil spirit possessing him. In any case, it's the same as I felt when I met Mr. Victor. Really? Oh, you've been here before too, Mr. Irving. Ms. Mahe seemed shocked. How did you know that? I felt your energy. Have you ever had deep feelings of fear down here? I think they remain as energy too. You can tell that much? Deep feelings of fear? Did something happen to Mr. Irving here? Is there such a thing as spiritual energy anyway? Should I believe everything you've said so far? I'm not lying now. Of course, given my behavior so far, I don't blame you for being skeptical. I checked everything I needed to check. Excuse me for now. Please let me know if there's anything I can do. With that, Miss Mahe left the room. Only Mr. Irving and I remained. Did something happen to you here too, my lord? I asked the question timidly, and he responded in a whisper. I was attacked. What? After the exorcism was over, my brother brought me here against my will and choked me. Mr. Victor did that? What for? He was really angry at me for taking everything away. My mother came in immediately and helped me. Taking everything? Everything from him. Mr. Irving's face seemed to twist in pain, but still he continued on. It was like he was talking to himself. After that, Mother brought him to the car and drove off. Who knows how Grandfather would have reacted if he found out what my brother had done. They left the house to escape, but during that escape, they got into an accident. That's why they died? No way. Maybe it was the sheer pain of remembering, but Mr. Irving was biting his lip tightly. Shall we go back? You can take a rest in your room? No, it's okay. I've come this far. I need to find out what my father was trying to tell me. Okay, I'll help. There are still some things that worry me about all this, But for now, I'd better start examining the room. Search start! There are many candles, but what are they for? They were probably used in the exorcism, but still, they look creepy. This is what you put incense in, right? Is there something inside? No, it won't open. I tried to remove the lid, but I could open it, but I could open only a small gap. Nothing of use, I guess. There are many bloody marks on the wall. Maybe they're Mr. Victor's? The setup in the exorcism must have been quite gruesome. I don't know, I just got clicking on stuff, so I don't know what the fuck to do. Oh, it came off. Peered into the open burner. There was a piece of paper in it. Something is written there. It's Mr. Oliver's handwriting. I read the letter. By the time you discover this, I assume you're living your life as Irving. I knew this would only confuse a young boy like you, so I kept it to myself, but I've always wanted to apologize to you for robbing you of everything. You, so free of sin, and heaping a whole lot of other things on you. I'm ashamed that I couldn't stop my father at that time. I lost my wife and son as a result. However, now that it's come to this, I do hope that you'll lead a splendid life as the head of the family. I pray with all my heart that road leads you to happiness. P.S. In order for you to live as you, facing the past will be inevitable. To that end, I left you hints on the places and things that are related to your past. I believe you are able to find your way here because you have accepted everything that happened in the past. The letter ends here. Living as Irving? I don't understand. Why don't you understand? It's saying that Mr. Irving is really Mr. Victor. Robbing him of everything? Heaping other things on him? What's that supposed to mean? Mr. Irving, I found this letter. This is... Father, forgive me, my lord, but I actually read what it said. What does it mean? The letters mentions living as Irving. I want you to listen. I don't want to hide anymore. Mr. Irving looked at me straight in the eye, then spoke. Yeah, sarcasm, right? I am Victor. You're what? It's like she said, you're what? I'm Victor. At least I was originally. Irving was actually my older brother. You're Mr. Victor? My lord? I'm sorry, but what do you mean by that? That incident, my brother attacking a girl in the village, It led to us switching our identities, as ordered by my grandfather, the head of the family. But why did you need to do that? Because the eldest son is the successor. That's how it is. Grandfather wanted me to assume that role. He thought he had no choice but to make me the eldest, make me Irving. My brother, after all, had caused too much trouble. He was deemed unfit to become the head of the family. That's why they switched. The news was so shocking, I was barely able to digest it. I'll have to ask for more details. What should I ask about? In the picture, you two seem to be on good terms. In fact, I think we were on good terms. My brother was strong and cheerful, whereas I was more quiet. Because of that, he would often protect me. But then, from a certain point in time, the anger with him started to grow. That's why he caused problems? Was it really the work of an evil spirit inside? Honestly, I'm skeptical. My brother was raised strictly as the heir to our family, so maybe the fault lies there somewhere. It was only when he acted out against all the scolding and pressure against him, around him, gradually isolating himself from the family, that he started to cause problems. So they performed the exorcism on Mr. Victor, but that was actually the son born as Irving, your older brother, yes? Yes. When communicating with people outside the family about my brother's problems, we tried not to call him Irving. We couldn't tarnish the name of the eldest son of the family. So they chose to refer to him as Victor instead? Yes, before the identity switch was even decided, though. If we hadn't switched, then I myself would still be treated as the problem child. I actually am Victor, after all. Terrible! Heaping the blame on you, the younger brother, attaching your name to things you didn't even do? That's how much we valued heritage. The head of the family must be trusted by everyone. So they tried to pretend that everything was fine? That's wrong. Yeah, I feel the same way now. It made me confused. I could only remember what happened 10 years ago in parts, so I thought my brother's actions were actually my own. Your brother was angry at you for taking everything away. Is that because you switched identities? Yes, because of what Grandfather ordered after the exorcism. It's not Mr. Irving's fault. Maybe his brother couldn't help but blame someone else, but still. So not only did Mr. Keith assume your father's identity, but you and your brother assumed each other's? It certainly is a weird story, but Keith was the only servant who knew about our switch. So maybe that's why he decided to take on a new identity himself as well. He may have deemed it indeed impossible. I see. By the way, a lot of servants besides Mr. Keith were fired at the time. Was that to prevent your identity switch from being noticed? It seems that way. It's terrible, I know. But I already asked about everything. Oh. You seem to have an idea as to why your father wants you dead. Is it because you switched identities? Yes. When it was decided that I would become heir, my father disagreed. Deep down, I thought it was because I wasn't suitable as a successor. And since my memory was all jumbled up itself, you thought your brother's actions were actually your own? Yeah, words like abominable demons were thrown around in reference to him, but somehow I thought they were about me. Because the name Victor had been used, the switching of identities is what caused everything. Mr. Irving, are you okay now? Have you properly regained your memory? Yes, thanks to you. Feelings, memories, they're okay now. I don't think I'll be confused anymore. I see. I'm glad. I breathed a sigh of relief, and Mr. Irving smiled. I was worried until now, but I'm glad I talked to you. I was mainly able to get things sorted out in my head because you were here to listen. Really? I'm happy to have helped. Yes, thank you so much. Mr. Irving glanced at the letter we found, eyes narrowed. I do hope that you'll lead a splendid life as the head of the family. I hope I can live up to my father's expectations. I myself want to live that way. I really do. Lead a splendid life. Yes, Mr. Irving will continue to do just that. Therefore, I must protect Mr. Irving. I have to catch the culprit, no matter what. My resolve was the greatest it had ever been. Last dream, huh? Whew, I'm tired. After that, I accompanied Mr. Irving to his room and finally had some time to settle down. Today was tough. Went to the woods, then the basement, got trapped in a room, managed to escape, searched a pond for a stolen knife. Counting off the days of events almost made my head spin. Actually, I'm kind of thirsty. Might go grab some water. When I went to the kitchen, the lights were still on. Huh? It's so late. I made my way to the sink, somewhat suspicious. Huh. Oh, Ellie, what's up? Oh, Mr. Jack. Huh. Having suddenly appeared, I couldn't help but stare at him. What's that look on your face? Ah, is it because I'm not wearing my hat? I don't blame you. I'm always wearing it, I guess. Yes. I was a little surprised. I didn't know Mr. Jack had silver hair. The hat he always wears makes it impossible to notice. Really, does it? Hold on. You really can't see that silver hair? Really? Alright. Now that I think about it, he has green eyes too. In many ways, he looked kind of like Mr. Irving. So, what are you doing here? Ow! You wanted to get some snackies? Oh, I was thirsty, so I came to have a glass of water. I see. Then I'll make you some tea. You have no more work, right? There are some leftover scones, so let's have a midnight tea party. Wow, thank you so much. You're so kind, Mr. Jack. It's my policy to be nice to girls. Yeah, for real, putting two and two together. Come to think of it, I don't know much about Mr. Jack. There's some things I'm curious about. Let me ask him some questions. Are you still working here, Mr. Jack? No, I've already finished my work. I was worried if the fire in the oven was properly extinguished, so I came to check. No, I have only seen him from a distance. I'm always in the kitchen, and the Lord never comes down here. It's been half a year since Mr. Jack came here. During that time, Mr. Irving was barely at the manor, so I don't think it's strange that they've never met. Mr. Irving didn't even know about Natalie. Speaking of him, the Lord seems to like you. What? I'm not sure if he likes me. Louisa told me that he's always calling you over to his room. Louisa told you that? Ugh, I'll have to ask her about that later. Haha, what kind of person is the Lord anyway? Is he sort of overbearing, or... Not at all. He is serious yet responsible. I think he's wonderful. Oh, good for you. What were you doing before coming to this manor, Mr. Jack? Pretty much the same thing as here, cooking for nobles in their mansion. I used to be at the bottom, though, so it was much tougher. It's nice not to be yelled at here. We're low on staff, though, so I can't goof off as much. Is that so? Getting yelled at? Even a master chef like you? Oh, unless it was for goofing off itself. Haha, that might have been a part of it. Well, people were tough on me. For my own good, I guess. After finishing the tea and scones, Mr. Jack got up from his chair. Now that we've finished drinking tea, shall we call it a night? Yes, good night. Good night, sweet dreams. What? Huh? Did I say something weird? Oh no, it's a perfectly normal figure of speech. A sweet dream. For a moment, I thought he was talking about a prophetic dream, which gave me a start. I'm sure Mr. Jack doesn't know about it. That night, I had a dream. Red, is this fire? What on earth is burning? No way, is the manor burning? It's hot, it's burning too. Oh my gosh, fire! Huh? What? Are you still asleep? I had jumped out of bed suddenly. Louisa, who was getting ready, looked at me strangely. What do you mean, fire? You'll jinx us, saying things like that. The manor was on fire. They're going to burn everything and everyone this time. What are you saying, really? You're scaring me. You got up earlier than usual just to say that? Enough, sleepwalking. Go wash your face. I'm going first. Don't be late today. Louisa left the room without giving me a second thought. Maybe she'd gotten used to my morning routine. I must immediately inform Mr. Irving about my dream, before things go wrong. I quickly got ready for work, then hurried out of the room. Excuse me, Mr. Irving, there's something I need to tell you. Me? Sorry, but can you wait a little? Ah, yes, oh? It was then that I noticed Mr. Maurice and Mr. Ewin. You came too, Ellie, just in time. I learned a lot about the accidental death 10 years ago, so you should listen too. Accidental death, as in Mr. Irving's mother? Yes, please let me hear. What did you find out? About the details of the accident. It was a car accident, but the cause of death was drowning. The car apparently crashed into the sea. Drowning? Victor was thrown from the car into the sea. It took a few days for his body to be recovered. So it didn't look the same as when he was alive. They determined it was him based on his belongings. Is that so? So the body might not have been his? Yeah, it's possible. If Mr. Irving's brother is alive, then I wonder if there is a possibility of him being the culprit. That is, if Miss Mahi's words are anything to go by. Well, if that's the case, then we know Mr. Jackson's brother, and he was making sure the fire wasn't going off. The place is gonna burn, so... or is Mr. Jack just the red herring? I don't know. Guess we'll find out. I'm just impressed you found out about 10 years ago. Was it written in the newspapers? I actually checked the old newspapers here, yes. But in doing so, I came across a memo my father wrote. Written by Keith? It listed the detective in the charge of the investigation. I used that to contact the police to find out more details. I see. So Keith was investigating the accident too. Maybe it has something to do with his research into the Black Dog. Speaking of Keith, Maurice, you found out something too, right? Yes. Maurice, who had been silent until then, stepped forward. I heard from Noelle last night that she saw Keith in the attic on the night before his death. In the attic? There's nothing there but servant rooms. What was he doing there? Apparently, he went into someone's room. It was dark in the corridor, so she couldn't tell which room he went in. Maybe he was murdered in whichever room he went into. Could that be a possibility? Perhaps he was fed poison or something similar there. Yeah, and then carried to his room and made out to look like he died of natural causes. For example, not entirely out of the question, I'd say. It'd mean the murderer was a servant, though. Yeah. Alright then. Why don't we try questioning each servant about the current case too, of course. Yes, we won't get anywhere at this rate. That sounds like a plan. Well then. Oh, please wait. We don't have time for that now. Ellie, did something happen? Well, yes. I had a dream this morning that this manor was on fire. Fire? That sounds preposterous. What caused the fire? I don't know what caused it. All I know is I saw it burning. Really? Alright, let's check the manor right away. Whoever it was may have already planted the seeds. For now, we need to prevent the fire first. My lord, it was just a dream, was it not? I'll explain later. Postpone all your plans today, including meals. I want you and all the servants to check the manor. Then let the guests know that there is a danger of fire. Understood. Right away. Mr. Maurice bowed and left the room in a hurry. I'll check too. You had a prophetic dream, didn't you, Ellie? Yes, I think so. I'll be joining you as well. Let's all protect this manor together. Mr. Ewan and I nodded firmly in agreement. I'll start by checking through the entire manor. There might be something. Investigate now. Hi, Ellie. Ms. Noelle, are you checking this room? Yes, Mr. Maurice told me to, but I haven't seen anything problematic. I see. What about up till now? Has there been anything unusual? Well, this may not be related to the fire, but when I went to the storeroom where we keep our embroidery tools, I noticed silk thread was missing. Silk thread? It's the same as this. I went to pick it up before talking to Mr. Maurice. That's when I noticed. Ms. Noelle showed me a lustrous golden-colored silk thread. Two bundles were gone. They were there yesterday, though. Really? Maybe they were stolen. Ellie, did you glance at me just now? Exactly. It's not me this time. No, ma'am, I didn't. There's no way you would steal something like that. That's okay. Once a thief, you're suspected for life. I think she means once a thief, always a thief. That's what she means. But she didn't want to phrase it that way, because, yeah. Anyway, I wonder why the silk's gone. Was it really stolen? It is rather expensive. Natalie entered the kitchen at the same time I did. Sorry I'm late. Hey, Natalie, are you okay? Yes. Sorry I left in the middle of my shift yesterday, and thank you for the treat. Seems like you've recovered. Good for you. Well, let's get to it. Can you come help me here? Yes. What are you making now? I'm frying some onions, thinking of using them in the soup. Wow, what a beautiful caramel color. Well, I did put in the work. It takes an hour to get like this. Oh, my hands hurt. They really are a nice golden brown. It must have been tough to get them like that. Jack, I need to talk to you. At that time, Mr. Maurice came into the kitchen. I'm sorry, but could you stop cooking right away? What for? If I stop, I won't be able to prepare breakfast in time. That won't be a problem, it seems. When you get to a good point, turn off all of your stoves and other flame sources. What? I mean, fine, I'll make sure I can use these again later, but still, it's so much work. I know how you feel, but we may have a fire on our hands. Can you make sure there's nothing dangerous lying around about now? Fire? Really? Oh, no. You help look around the kitchen, too. Oh, okay. Okay, I'll leave you to it. I'll turn off all the stoves and stuff. They'll start investigating the kitchen now. Should I come back here again later so that I don't get in their way? While considering what to do, Natalie spoke up. What the? We're missing an oil pot. Oil pot? Was there actually oil in it? Oh, Ellie, yeah, there is always two here, but the one filled with oil is missing. It's gone. Maybe it was stolen. You think so? But what would you do with the stolen oil pot? The oil could be used to start a fire. I have a bad feeling about this. Investigate map. Alright, I will be right back. Okay. Excuse me. Oh, there's no one here. The room was deathly quiet. A tuft of golden hair was visible from under the sheets. Miss Layla must be sleeping. How about Mrs. Grace? Oh, do you need something? At that time, Miss Grace entered through the door. Mrs. Grace, as you may know, we may be looking at a fire here at... Ah, yes, I heard. Is there any truth to that possibility? Then again, I suppose this whole place is indeed just one strange occurrence after another, so I'll take a look around after Layla wakes up. Now, if you could perhaps check the room now, if something happens before or later, all right. With that, Mrs. Grace moved away from the bed and quietly began to look around the room. Can I help you out? No. If both of us start to look, it'll be too noisy. Layla may wake up. Understood. Please let me know if you need anything. Pretty suspicious, ain't it? Pretty suspicious if you ask me. Excuse me, Ms. Mahi, you may know already. Yes, I heard. There's a danger of fire. Yes, mate. Have you noticed anything? No, nothing for now. I've been looking around this room, but I haven't found anything that could cause a fire. Then it should be okay here. That was quick. What? Is this locked? The door was locked and I couldn't enter. Ah, are you trying to get into the dining room? I haven't been able to enter for a while now. She looks pretty happy about that. Louisa had seen me standing there in front of the door and decided to let me know as she was passing by. For how long exactly? Well, I tried about 10 minutes ago. Someone's inside, I guess. Someone? Who? I don't know. I have a bad feeling about this. Hey, Louisa, can you take a look inside from the window? Me? Well, alright. Suppose we need to make doubly sure of everything. What with this talk of a fire potentially happening? Which reminds me, weren't you saying something about a fire when you woke up this morning? Did that have anything to do with making the rounds now? Well, I'll explain later. What's that supposed to mean? Louisa gave me a suspicious look, but went outside to check from the window. I'll let Louisa handle that for the time being. I should investigate elsewhere. Why are we letting Louisa, investigate it? I returned to the hall, but I was already in the hall. Oh, Ellie, I tried to look into the dining room from the window. There was some cloth in the way, so I couldn't really see. Cloth? Covering the window? That does it. I need to get in no matter what. Louisa, could you get the dining room key from Mr. Maurice? Why am I running errands for you like this? Ridiculous. Though clearly unhappy, Louisa went to look for Mr. Maurice. Why is the dining room locked? What? That's weird. Well, you did let Louisa go check it out. It's possible that she went inside of the window and unlocked the door. I should have been watching the dining room, but I had to look in other places. Trap. Ah, well. Damn. Yeah, it's a trap, so it's like, yeah, that's usually something you don't want to go near. But I don't know. Search star. Cuckoo clock, as I say. There's nothing unusual on the table. This is paper and cloth soaked in oil were spread out underneath. What is this? Maybe someone did this while the dining room was closed. And this oil is. The pitch and the pendulum. Nope. Cuckoo. This is. Right. Huh? It's almost 8 o'clock. I looked at the clock face and suddenly realized when the minute hand reaches 0, the candle is going to fly out. I have to take it out before that happens. It's hot. Ellie! Mr. Ewan? That's dangerous. What were you doing? Thank you so much. The butler said that the dining room was locked, so I came to check and saw you about to fall off the chair. What happened? Mr. Ewan noticed the candle in the floor. What is all this? This was all done to start a fire. This candle was placed so that it would fly out of the cuckoo clock when it struck 8 o'clock. So that's why you have a candle. Good job. Mr. Ewan ruffled my hair. You'll mess up my hair if you do that. Letting him do as he pleased, I looked away and noticed that Mr. Maurice and some others were at the entrance. I can't believe it. There was almost a fire. Who on earth could have done something like this? Everyone come here. Someone was trying to set fire to the dining room. Louisa called out through the manor in a loud voice, and one by one everyone gathered together. When was this all set up? How terrifying. You're not kidding. Are they trying to kill us all? I'm scared. Who could do such a thing? I looked around at the gathering and noticed something. Huh? Where's Mr. Jack? Is he still in the kitchen while all of this is going on? Oh, yeah, really. We left the kitchen together. Were you with him the whole time? Yeah, I was. That's a bit suspicious. Jack is the chef, right? Sounds like he ran away because he's the culprit. Huh? You think so? Even if he ran away, he must be somewhere close. I'm going to look outside. Yes, please. Noel, could you ask the people in the village to help look for him? Yes, sir. That'll really help. You all look inside the manor. Okay. I don't know if he actually ran away, but let's look for Mr. Jack. Trap now. Trap now. Ellie, where are you going? Dubiously. Are you really thinking we're going to look for Jack the chef in there? He would need a key to get in. I can't imagine he'd be in there. If he was just a servant, then I would agree. But maybe if it's Mr. Jack, is there something about him? Mr. Irving, you haven't met Mr. Jack yet, have you? No, I only know that he is a young chef. Mr. Jack has silver hair and green eyes. Probably the same age as you, Mr. Irving. They're very different people, but if you look closely, he does seem to look like you. Do you mean that's why? Just maybe. I see. Maurice and the others are looking at everywhere else, so let's try searching somewhere here. If he really is here, that would mean that Mr. Jack is Irving. True criminal. Basement. The door. The bookshelf had been moved aside, revealing a hidden door. I'm sure I put it back when I left here last night. Does this mean he's beyond the door? Perhaps. Well, hello, my lord. What a coincidence. I wasn't expecting you here. Mr. Jack was in the room where the exorcism took place. In his hand was a lit candle. The smell of oil. It ends in a creepy basement. Oh, yeah, of course it ends in a creepy basement. Mr. Jack, what were you doing here? Oh, you don't want to get any closer than that. It'd be too dangerous. Mr. Jack pointed the candle at us. Dangerous if I accidentally drop this. That is, I don't want to hurt any more girls if I could help it. If he drops that candle onto the floor now, no doubt the fire will spread very quickly. I had no other choice but to stop. Are you my older brother? Why are you still alive? The Lord stared at Mr. Jack, a stunned look on his face. That's what you're worrying about, my lord. Given the situation, why not worry about your life first? I thought you were dead until now, that I'd never be able to see you again. You're disappointing me. By the looks of things, you haven't changed that much. You were way more impressive when seen from afar. Mr. Jack's voice lacked its usual charm. It had become cold, lifeless. Is this who he really is? He's always been so bright and cheerful. Was that all just an act? Well, let's talk if you want to know so much. Why don't we start from Mother's attempted double suicide? Double suicide? Wouldn't it count as homicide or suicide and homicide at the same time? You mean when her car crashed into the sea? That was an accident. It seems that Mother was very disappointed in me. She tried to kill us both so I wouldn't mess up anymore. It can't be. Unbelievable. Inconceivable. So that's how backed up against the wall she was. Enough to do something like that. They found a dead body, but it wasn't yours, right? That's right. I escaped from the car alone, then made my way to a port. There I came across a boat of human traffickers. I agreed to work for them if they prepared a dead body for me in exchange. Luckily, one sailor had died during their trip. During their trip. That's 29. We're on our way to 30. So I passed his corpse off as my own. So they had a sailor that was about the size of a 10-year-old, or something like that. Working for human traffickers? You mean like a slave? Why did you do that? Couldn't you just come home? Well, no, obviously. Otherwise, why would I even stoop so low? If Grandfather found out I was alive, he'd bring me back. Who knows what he'd end up doing with me then? Apparently. With him regarding me as the devil, and Mother gone, I just knew there'd be no way I could go on living here. Being a slave for the rest of my life would be much better. But now, with Grandfather gone, I was able to come back. Was able to come back by changing your name and working here as a servant? And having already plotted to commit this crime, right? You're right again, Ellie. Good job foiling my plans one after the other. So you're the mastermind behind all of this? I guess so. Now that it's come to this, what can else I do but admit it? Mr. Jack, can we go over everything that's happened one at a time? Sure, I want to know how much you know, so ask me anything. Not sure if I'll answer, though. Still, it's now or never. How did you enter this room? I have the key. I stole it when I was a kid and hid it in the manor, thinking it may become useful one day. That's how. Then the predecessor's room key, too. Yeah, I had it. I used that to take the rifle and the knife from his room. Was it you who gave Mr. William et al. There's number 30. Et al. Et al. Oh my gosh. Et al. Yes, it was. I studied penmanship under Keith, so it wasn't hard to write like him. I see. So you were studying penmanship? Mr. Jack could have indeed added to the will a few weeks ago. Seems fair to assume he was behind all the forgeries. True, criminal. Oh shit. Mr. Keith came to the attic the day before his death. Was it perhaps your room he was visiting, Mr. Jack? I'm surprised you know about that. Someone must have seen him, huh? Yes. Why did Mr. Keith visit your room? Apparently Keith saw my face and realized who I am. That's why he visited. I also learned at that time that he was impersonating Father. I already assumed someone was. So you killed Keith because he found out who you are? Yeah. At that time, I was already thinking about this plan, so I couldn't let anyone get in the way. Actually, I was waiting for him to die naturally. I heard it wouldn't be much longer for him. So, about your objective, what do you want to achieve by killing Mr. Irving? Surely you're not trying to become head of the family. Oh, I surely am. The title, the position, it all belongs to me. I came to take it back. Belongs? Take it back? What nonsense! Do you even know what being the head entails? Well, what I do know is we won't settle this with words, which is why I decided to kill you instead. Yep, blame it all on Father's spirit and the actions of the perpetrators themselves, then reveal I was alive all along and take my rightful place as head of the family. But every step of the way, you were there to foil my plans. I never expected those would-be culprits to turn their back on me one by one. Is that why you decided to burn everything? Yeah, as a last resort. Burn your body beyond recognition so that you and I could switch places again. Not a bad plan, right? You really come to know fear. Your face says it all. You put everyone in this manor at risk. What's so funny about that? How horrible do you think your actions have been, really? Well, I think I know. I had to do it alone. It was the only recourse I had. Mr. Irving glared at Mr. Jack coldly, but the latter just gave him a wry smile. Well, I told you almost everything. You know my plans were. So, I talked more than I should have in the end. Yep, because I revealed all my plans. so that way you could defeat me. Updated memo in memory. Mr. Jack said he told us everything, but is that really true? Are you doubting me, Ellie? Yes, are you hiding something? I'm sure he's hiding something. I need to find out what it is. Question start. We've got 5. Maybe you're hiding something about that incident. You lied about something just now, right? Which incident are you talking about? Well, the stabbing was what's his face? Ewing. Oh, is that not it? Question start. Shit. Shit. Question start. Did Louisa help him, like I was saying earlier? So one of them is correct. I think it's the true criminal ritual room. Question start. Here we go again. There we go. Save it, Tom. Do that bullshit again. The cuckoo clock. There's no way you would have left your workstation. Natalie also mentioned that you and her worked together right up until the whole commotion about the fire began. You wouldn't have had time to set the candle yourself. And so you doubted me even when I said I had done it alone? Huh. Yes, there is a gigantic space in between the apostrophe and the T. So that is number 31. The accomplice is Brittany. I don't have any. No, it's not. Is it who I originally said? Yeah. Do. What's his name? Maurice. No? What? Well, we haven't seen William in a long time. Leela was in bed. Was it Natalie? No. She was in the kitchen. Ah, shit. I'll go with William. Nope. Grace. No, so it was Leela then, okay. She's the only one! Besides you, who didn't come down when the commotion with the fire was taking place. With the fire. 32! That's, oh wow, that's 2 like immediately. It was actually you who promised to marry her, right? And is that the only reason why you're doubting Leela? I have proof that she was your accomplice too. That is... You don't understand that that's the proof? I went to the room, but I only saw her hair. She must have been outside. And can you prove that? Okay. So, Ms. Leela is the accomplice. You're just lying to protect her. Are you and Leela really working together? Then Leela knows about everything. Why are you still here? Why? For some reason, the words seem to escape me. Yes, why? Instead of running away with Miss Leela, he came here. Yeah, I suppose it would be suicidal if I burned this place. I'll be the first one to go. Seems like he didn't come here to commit suicide. Whoops. Yay, game break. Oh, wait, no. I don't know what we were at. No, shit. I forgot what I saved at. I guess this, probably then. Okay. At first, I thought you came here to start a fire, but doing so would be suicidal in more ways than one, given the circumstances we're in. A fire down here would put you in direct harm's way, too. You wouldn't be able to prepare things in advance, and then light the wick later, like in the dining room. Which is why you think I came to stop the fire instead, huh? Yes, a burning candle had already been set even before you came here, right? Oh my, You know everything, don't you? When it all comes down to it, you don't really have to do much. Have much to do with the fire at all, do you, Mr. Jack? You were cooking such a time-consuming dish at that time. You didn't seem to be doing anything until the fire. Yeah, Leela only told me to take my luggage and get out of the manor before 8 o'clock, so I didn't know much about any fire until then. Came here because Leela told me that she'll erase my cursed past, which gave me a bad feeling. I suppose I should have just fled together with her. But when I heard about the fire, the faces of everyone in this manor sort of flashed before my eyes. Question finished. The Lord, ritual room. Sigh. How could I have done such a mediocre job? Why not put out the fire? If I put it out, it'll feel like this is all over. I don't have the strength to do it myself. I see. What? At that moment, Mr. Irving put his hand over the burning candle. What are you doing? He couldn't put it out, so I did. The fire is out. Isn't it hot? It's hot, and it hurts. I probably burned myself. You don't say. But now, we can put this all behind us, can't we? Just stop this. You really do look impressive right now. Mr. Jack smiled at Mr. Irving and quietly spoke to him. I see. I give up. Watching them as they faced one another, I suddenly remembered the photo of them both as children. Everything may have changed since then. I guess so. I ain't over yet. We'll continue playing, I guess. But I could still feel some of their old brotherly bond. When we entered the hall, I could hear loud voices. Let go of me! Don't lay your filthy hands on me! You're so noisy when you're awake. Criminals should at least have some manners. What did you say? You have no right to say that about other people. You're the one who needs to learn some manners. Apparently, Mr. Ewin had persuaded Miss Leela to come to the hall with him. Oh, Ellie Irving. Ellie Irving. I mean, there's a comma, so they're fine. I'm just being silly. You guys caught the chef. I was surprised to catch the lady here. She is the true culprit behind the fire. Ah! Miss Leela looked in our direction and ran towards us, leaving Mr. Ewin behind. Irving! She screamed and hugged Mr. Jack. You are still here after all. Why didn't you come? I was waiting for you outside. You didn't come after a while, so I returned to the manor. But when I did, I was captured by this commoner. I see. Sorry, Leela. Mr. Jack stroked Mr. Leela's head to calm her down and confessed. The Lord Hall. I'm really sorry, but this is it. I'm sorry that you sacrificed so much. What? It doesn't look like your wish is going to come true. It was my fiancé's wish, so I wanted to do everything I could to make it come true. Huh? Miss Leela saw Mr. Irving and me and gasped as if she was just figuring something out. No. She crumpled to the floor. Leela, my brother told us everything. Could you also talk to us? I don't know if she's willing to talk, but at least I can ask. On the first night, but poison was mixed into Mr. Irving's wine. There's no point in hiding it now. I did that. I don't need to tell you why, do I? But Miss Leela, you had an alibi. You were with Mrs. Grace in your room the whole time. I asked my mother to say that in her testimony. Of course, my mother doesn't know what I did. Miss Leela, you knew who Mr. Jack really was, didn't you? When did you find out? A long time ago. I found out after receiving a letter from Irving. Is that so? And you acted as if you don't know? It seemed that my mother was involved in switching the two of them, so I didn't know what would happen to Irving if she found out what I knew. That I knew. Was Mrs. Grace involved? It's horrible. She knew that I was in love with Irving, but forced me to marry Victor. So I swore to myself in secret I would marry Irving after having him regain his position as head of the family. I've always dreamed of that day. Miss Leela bit her lip in frustration. At the time of the Rose Garden incident, you didn't have a letter with instructions on you, so there must not have been a letter in the first place. No, I wasn't told what to do. When you attacked Mr. Irving in the Rose Garden, you claimed you had been deceived. Why? She was talking about us switching places, but she already knew. I'm sorry. I thought that saying that would unsettle you. I wanted Ewan to use that opportunity to kill you. So that was why? Even so, it seems like your condition suddenly got worse after that. I was making preparations for the fire. I was hoping that people around me would be less suspicious if they thought I was in bed all day. Ah, I see. Leela, you! Just then, Mrs. Grace called out to her in a shaky voice. Mother, you're here. Were you listening? Yes. What is the meaning of this? Were you trying to burn me to death as well? I'm sorry. I thought this was the only way that I could be with Irving. After all, no matter what I want, you would never agree to anything that inconveniences you. Isn't that right? I couldn't let you interfere. Interfere? It looked like you were getting along. There's no love lost here between mother and daughter. Ewan glanced at Leela and her mother before turning to us. Well, for now, it seems like we've got most of the facts from the culprits. Yes, I think we've solved everything. I see. Did you find anything about my father? I killed him. Ah! Do you want to punch me? Go ahead. After glaring at Mr. Jack for a while, Mr. Ewan opened his mouth. No, I won't hit you. I don't think murder is something that can be forgiven with a punch. I see. Then what are you going to do? Well, I don't think that anything can make this all better. But I don't think that is something I can decide by myself. No. Honestly, I think this goes beyond our hands. So, Mr. Irving looked at everyone around him and made a declaration. I'm going to call the police. Let the crime be judged by the law. The police? No way. If you do that, the whole world will know about this. You would damage the Rockleford family name. I don't have any problem with that. This family, has been hiding too much. Thanks to that, a number of truths were warped and used for malicious purposes. I realized this after what happened here. So now, we aren't going to hide anything. We'll reveal it all to the light of day. these wounds that will be exposed are all the scars anyway. Why is there a giant space in between? That's 33. All we were doing was hiding them in the dark. Mr. Irving, well, I disagree. I do not approve of this. I am the head of this family, Aunt. Isn't that just temporary? You aren't the official head of the family yet. I will take on this mantle henceforth. I was entrusted this position by the predecessor. Mr. Irving, his voice firm, made a declaration to everyone there. As the head of this family, I will cleanse these sins one by one. I hope that everybody will do their part to help. With that, Mr. Irving officially became the 10th head of the Rockwood family. One week later. Phew, things are finally settling down. Most of the guests had already left. We found ourselves cleaning a much quieter manner. The police were always coming and going before, huh? Everything was just so busy. Speaking of police, quite a few people have been caught now. I wonder what will happen. Yeah, but most of these were just attempts, so the ramifications shouldn't be too serious. Apart from Mr. Jack and Ms. Leela, that is. Mr. Jack killed Mr. Keith and instructed other people to commit crimes too. Ms. Leela is responsible for both a poisoning and arson attempt, so the expectation is that she'll be punished severely as well. I know, right? I was really shocked about Mr. Jack. Well, maybe not as much as Natalie would be, as she was working closely with him. Louisa glanced at Natalie, who was cleaning the stairs. Are you okay, Natalie? Yeah, I'm okay. I was just remembering about the other day. The other day? When Mr. Jack left the manor, he gave me a hair clip. He said it was to keep my fringe out of my eyes during work. I see. Did Mr. Jack say anything else? Yeah, he told me he was sorry. Then I remembered. I had met him before. He pointed a knife at me back then. It was really scary. Now that I think about it, I think he also said sorry. At that time too, all those years ago. Maybe it wasn't a black dog or a frightening criminal I met that day in the woods. Maybe he was just an ordinary boy. That's the feeling I get now. Final act ending. I see. I hope you won't have a reason to be scared anymore. Yeah, hopefully I'll be able to use this clip soon, someday, when things settle down more. Someday. Will the wounds heal? Seeing Natalie laugh softly, I couldn't help but wonder. The wounds from the past, and wounds from this time. Maybe they will. Maybe they'll just become memories someday. When they do, I might even be able to see the people I met here once again, in different ways and in a different light. That, I knew deep down, was a dream I wanted to come true. Okay. That was good. Yeah, I was wrong on the killer. I did not expect it to be Mr. Jack. I know I suspected him at one point, but I'm pretty sure I went through everybody just about, other than Mrs. Grace. And Miss Leela, both of those two being the culprits. It was good. I enjoyed it. Hopefully you enjoyed watching it. It was pretty fun. I'll collect my thoughts more as time passes, but yeah, I really liked it. It was fun. The story was engaging. I liked the twist at the end. I mean, it wasn't the most original thing, but it wasn't bad though. It wasn't bad. Yeah, the music score could have been better, but for a $12 game, I mean, do you really expect, perfection then? Music has been unlocked. Go to special on the title screen to access it. By satisfying certain criteria when you make decisions, you may be able to see other endings to the story. Use charts or other means as guides to try to see the other ways that Ellie's life plays out. Okay then, so I'm getting no trophy for beating the game. It was good though, I liked it. I mean, it wasn't a game of the year, no, but it wasn't bad either. Alrighty, well, thank you for watching this playthrough of Gothic Murder Adventure that changes destiny. We changed destiny, we sure did, and we got through to the end. Just great. We will be back soon on Tuesday for Vampire. Have a great night.